Alright, imagine this. You're invited to a house party, except instead of snacks and karaoke, the house itself wants to eat your soul. That's right, today we're talking about the absolute creepiest, most terrifying, most iconic haunted houses in horror history. Lock your doors, keep the lights on, and for the love of God, don't go down into the basement. Let's rank them from number 15 all the way down to the number 1 scariest haunted house. And you're gonna want to invite me in for this one. Trust me. Welcome into Waxyz World, the channel where we celebrate horror, rank horror, and occasionally question why we still watch horror when it makes us afraid of our own closet. I'm your host and your tour guide through the horror real estate market. And today we're gonna walk through the scariest haunted houses ever put on screen. We're talking gothic mansions, suburban homes that turn into nightmares, and hotels that feel like they've been built directly on the mouth of hell. So buckle up, horror fam, because these are the haunted houses you don't want to get locked inside of. Let's kick it off with the OG House on Haunted Hill. Now the 1959 Vincent Price version, that's the classic. Rich guy invites a bunch of people to a haunted house, locks them in, offers them money if they survive. That premise alone has been remixed and recycled 1,000 times in horror. Now the house itself is less about subtle ghost stuff and more about, hey, here's a skeleton dangling on a wire. But don't get it twisted. This was iconic. Fast forward to 1999, the remake goes full metal horror and an actual murderous spirit lurking in the walls. That update gave us one of the most twisted haunted house aesthetics ever, with that black smoke monster thing and the asylum backstory. It's campy, it's creepy, it's basically a Halloween party in a haunted house. And that is why it lands here at number 15. Next we have The Others. And okay, Nicole Kidman running around a fog-covered mansion? Yeah. The Others is ghost story perfection. This house feels like it exists outside of time. Isolated, almost suffocating, every door locked, every window covered, and the big twist, spoiler alert, they're the ghost. Nicole Kidman and her kids are haunting the house the whole time. The mansion itself becomes this tragic liminal space caught between life and death. It's less jump scare and more I feel deeply uncomfortable just looking at this wallpaper. The Others gave haunted houses that sense of sadness, that the house isn't just creepy, it's a prison for lost souls. Coming in at number 13, we have the Amityville Horror. Amityville is probably the most famous haunted house in the world. Thanks to being based on a true story, you've got the Lutz family moving into a beautiful home, only to find out that it's sitting on a murder site and the walls basically bleed evil. Now, whether or not you buy the true story part doesn't matter. This house feels evil. From the creepy windows that look like eyes to demonic voices to Ryan Reynolds in the 2005 version, chopping wood but slowly going insane. Amityville is truly iconic haunted house horror. It's cursed real estate at its finest. Forget ghosts, this house just makes people snap. Next we have Poltergeist. And now we're talking suburban nightmare fuel. We have the Freeling family moving into their shiny new home in California. And surprise, it's built on a cemetery. Rookie mistake, honestly. This house goes from fun and quirky, chairs stacking themselves, kids sliding across the kitchen floor, to full-blown the walls are meat and the closet is hell. The scene where the guy rips his face off in the bathroom mirror, still haunting. And of course, they're here. That little line gave suburban America trust issues with their TVs forever. Poltergeist proved you don't need gothic castles to be scary. The most terrifying haunted house could be right there in your neighborhood. Coming in at 11, we have The Woman in Black. And the Eel Marsh house? Even the name sounds cursed. We have Daniel Radcliffe post Harry Potter, and he finds himself in a giant, rotting gothic mansion, sitting in the middle of a swamp that only becomes accessible when the tide is low. And that is already terrifying. And inside, it's all creaking floorboards, shadowy hallways, and the creepy woman in black lurking in the corner of your eye. The location alone already makes this house one of horror's creepiest. It feels alive, like the fog and mud are trying to pull you under. It's the kind of haunted house where you know the second you walk in, you're probably not walking back out. And next we have Crimson Peak. And Guillermo del Toro basically said, what if a haunted house was also art? Well, Crimson Peak gave us Allerdale Hall, the most gorgeous, gothic, nightmare mansion ever put on film. The house literally bleeds red clay through its walls and floors. It's decaying, it's massive, and every room is soaked in atmosphere. And Del Toro's ghosts aren't subtle either. They're skeletal, dripping, grotesque figures stalking through the halls. But the house itself, it's the main character. It's like a living thing, a decaying monster swallowing anyone who steps inside. Crimson Peak is proof haunted houses can be both terrifying and beautiful. And now we have Insidious. And you thought moving to a new house would fix things? Nope. In Insidious, the Lamberts' family home is invaded by something much worse. Demons from the further. And what's so brilliant here is that the house looks normal. It's a totally average suburban house. But when the hauntings start, the baby monitor voices, the figure in the corner, and of course Darth Maul's cousin chilling behind Patrick Wilson, it becomes unforgettable. And Insidious reminded us that haunted houses don't need to be gothic mansions. They can be your house. And that's why this one hits so hard. Next we have The Changeling. And this is one of those underappreciated haunted house gems. We have John Russell, played by George C. Scott, who moves into an old mansion after losing his family. And what follows is one of the best ghost stories ever. There's grief, there's mystery, and there's that seance scene. I swear, it's gotta be one of the best sequences ever filmed. And the house in The Changeling, it's both beautiful and tragic. It almost feels like it's weeping, and like every creak is part of a bigger secret. It's not just a haunted house, it's a haunted heart. Coming in at number 7, we have Sinister. And Sinister asks the question, what if the house itself was haunted, but it came with baggage? Like a box with cursed home movies. Here we have Ethan Hawke, who plays Ellison Oswalt, who moves his family into a home with a dark history. And there he finds these tapes in the attic, and boom. Suddenly the house is a doorway for Bagul, the pagan god of snuff film. Now the imagery is straight up nightmare fuel, with the lawnmower kill and the pool drownings, and the attic projector itself becomes one of horror's scariest haunted house props. This isn't just a haunted house, it's a trap. And once you've moved in, your family's fate is sealed. And next we have a classic with The Shining. And yeah, I know the Overlook Hotel is technically a hotel, but come on, it's the ultimate haunted house on steroids. And the Overlook isn't just haunted, it's actively manipulating Jack Torrance into becoming its caretaker forever. With blood elevators, twin girls in the hallway, and here's Johnny! The isolation, the endless corridors, and the way the architecture itself feels wrong, it's one of the most terrifying haunted spaces ever created. And the Overlook is proof that a haunted house doesn't just scare you, it consumes you. Coming in at number 5, we have The Conjuring. And James Wan knew what he was doing. The Perrin farmhouse is now iconic haunted house horror. The basement full of cursed junk, the clapping game, and the shadow in the corner of the bedroom. This house was built to scare. And The Conjuring, it's like a mixtape of every haunted house trope done perfectly. And it's also based on a true case file, which just makes it even more terrifying, and it makes people shiver more. It's also the house where you know if you step inside, you're not sleeping tonight, or probably ever. Next we have Hereditary. Now Hereditary doesn't scream haunted house at first. It's basically a modern family drama about grief, but then you realize the Graham family home is basically a ritual site for something much darker. And writer and director Ari Aster uses the house itself like a dollhouse, literally showing us miniature models of the tragedy that's about to unfold. And by the end, every corner, every shadow, and every hallway feels cursed. And the attic sequence alone is one of the most bone-chilling haunted house moments in modern horror. This home doesn't just contain evil, it was built for it. Coming in at number 3 is The Haunting, and Hill House is the blueprint for all haunted houses. The 1963 version is pure atmosphere, shadows, whispers, and walls that seem to breathe. It's psychological horror at its best. The 1999 remake, okay, it's over the top, with CGI statues coming to life and Owen Wilson losing his head, but it's still burned into haunted house pop culture. Every haunted house on this list owes something to The Haunting, and Hill House is where the genre lives. Next we have The Conjuring 2. And if the Perrin farmhouse was scary, the Enfield house in The Conjuring 2 is nightmare fuel. This cramped London home with peeling wallpaper becomes the stage for some of the best jump scares Wan ever pulled off. We have the crooked man, the nun, and the old man in the chair. And the way Wan shoots this house, with long takes moving through rooms, doors creaking on their own, it makes it feel alive. And the Enfield haunting is one of the greatest haunted house stories ever brought to the screen. And finally, number 1, we have the McNeil house from The Exorcist. Now you can argue this is more of a possession story than a haunted house one. But let's be real, that Georgetown home and that upstairs bedroom is the probably most terrifying house in horror history. And the moment Regan's bed starts shaking, that house becomes a war zone between heaven and hell. The stairwell, the attic, the infamous window, every piece of that home is seared into horror history. Now The Exorcist didn't just give us a haunted house, it gave us the house. The one that made people faint, vomit, and run out of the theaters in 1973. It's the crown jewel of real estate. So there you have it, horror fans. The scariest haunted houses in movie history, ranked from partly friendly mansions to full-blown gateways to hell. Now, what haunted house shook you the most? Did I miss your favorite? Drop it in the comments, because I want to know which cursed property you'd never spend the night in. And if you enjoyed this spooky little real estate tour, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more horror breakdowns, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next nightmare. Until then, sleep tight, and remember, every house has history, and some of it just doesn't want to stay buried. Till next time, we'll see you again. Peace.